On July 13th, Harley-Davidson is revealing a brand new Sportster. Let's talk about that. Harley-Davidson is planning a global reveal of its water-cooled 1250cc Revolution custom bike. And custom is what they've been calling it all along during this journey. Pictures and some slight specs got revealed to the public by CycleWorld, and I'll post a link to the article down below. The pictures that CycleWorld showed of it basically mimic almost exactly what the prototype of the custom, as they called it, going into the discussions about revitalizing the Sportster lineup. Now, how CycleWorld kind of makes their claims about their statements here are the details of the production version have now emerged ahead of schedule, courtesy of the firm's official type approval documents. So that kind of tattoos it right there. It is going to rock the 1250 Revolution motor that is in the Pan America, but it's going to be detuned a bit, and we'll kick that around a little bit here in just a second. Harley-Davidson kind of revealed a sneak peek of the Harley Custom Sportster back in 2018. So actually, this is the very first true statements that have hit the internet on exactly what it's going to be. So we're all anxiously awaiting for July 13th. And in my opinion, you know, a water-cooled Sportster is sorely overdue. I mean, my Evo Roadster I have here, I love it, but it is sorely underpowered. I mean, I don't know, 55, 60 horsepower, something like that. And this new one's gonna be north of 100 horsepower with the water-cooled motor. So that's kind of fascinating to me. You know, you're getting double the horsepower. I see nothing but good things for the Sportster lineup, but I'll share some of my cheers and jeers at the end of this video. The engine is essentially the Revolution Max 1250, design used in the Pan America, but has been detuned from the Pan America's claimed 150 horsepower to 121 horsepower, with significantly lower peak revs. That might be a clue that the Pan America's variable timing system isn't used on the Sportster S, which would help reduce the complexity and cost of the production of the Sportster, which is their price leader bike. I like the direction Harley's going here. They're coming up with their own design. They're not farming it out to China. They're not farming it out to India. They're producing an in-house Sportster and making it their entry-level bike, which is where it should have been all along. They should have never ventured in those other venues, in my opinion. So CycleWorld is saying, regardless of how the power reduction is achieved, it means the new bike's max output arrives at 7,500 RPM instead of 8,750 RPM. Torque is also reduced a little bit. The Sportster S manages 92 pound-feet at 6,000 RPM, whereas the Pan America is good for a claimed 94 pound-feet at 6,750 RPM. Now, CycleWorld took the Pan America on their own personal dyno. Pan America 1250 Special produced 128 rear-wheel horsepower at 9,000 RPM and 80.8 pound-feet of torque at 4,200 RPM. Those numbers are nothing to sneeze at. They're no joke. Any bike over 100 horsepower with that kind of foot-pound torque is going to be a hoon to ride. It is going to be a hoot. Now, I could be wrong, but I think the Pan America tops out at 137 miles per hour. The new Sportster S is going to top out at 137 miles per hour as well. So I expect to see the same top end, but it's going to take a little longer to get there. Maybe, maybe not, because it's a little lighter in weight compared to the Pan America, but not by much. Type approval documents list in a maximum speed of 137 miles per hour, the same figure listed on the Pan America in its equivalent type approval info. With peak torque arriving at lower revs, plus a significant reduction in weight, the Sportster S will probably outrun the Pan America in a race from the lights. I don't know about all that. 150 horsepower is still 150 horsepower. We shall see. The Sportster S has a type-approved weight of 503 pounds wet. Wet means including oil and gas in it, so it's the true weight of the bike. Somehow these numbers never really shake down to reality. They always seem to be a little bit lower than reality is, but that's my experience. For the US, Harley quotes the Pan America Special at a slightly higher 559 pounds, 534 pounds for the base Pan America. If the same proportions apply to the Sportster S, the US version is likely to be around 495 pounds. Call it the 500-pound mark. That is a guesstimate. It is not a claim saying the bike weighs 495 pounds. They are guessing at that, so take that with a grain of salt. As on the Pan America, the Revolution Max isn't just the Sportster S engine, but also a major component of its chassis, providing main structure between the swing arm pivot and the separate upper frame section, which is bolted to the top carrying the steering head. Good stuff there. They're using the motor as a major stress member of the frame component of geometry of this bike. So I like what they're doing there. Good stuff. CycleWorld made a statement here that I'm not sure I concur with. With less mass, there's a reduced need for braking power as well. So a Sportster S uses a single front disc instead of Pan America's twin disc setup. I don't know who writes this stuff, but on a 550-pound bike, I'm not sold that you only need one disc. I think it needs dual discs up front, especially for reduction of fading when you go in downhill slopes in the twisties and you're riding down a mountain. You're not cooking your brakes. Humbly, I disagree with that statement. The original concept version was notable for its massively wide front tire, and the production Sportster S doesn't scale it down. The front rubber is 160/70 ZR17, big enough for the rear of many street bikes, while the back hoop holds a 180/70 ZR16. All right, so it has a massive front tire. That styling cue isn't my cup of tea. I'm not a fan of it, so I'll have to go see it in person, but my initial knee-jerk reaction is I'm not a fan. CycleWorld makes a statement here. Harley's decision to use the Sportster S name for the RH1250S, yes, that's the model number for this bike, gives a couple of clues to the firm's plans for the future. It suggests the bike is a genuine Sportster replacement rather than a parallel model, and shows Harley-Davidson's recent trademark application for the Nightster name wasn't destined for this model, although it may yet be a variation of the same thing. The fact that the initial version of the new Sportster is the S also hints a lower spec, non-S version of the bike may also be in the cards, perhaps built around a smaller capacity 950cc version of the Revolution Max that was usually earmarked for the Bronx bike that got scratched. That sounds legit to me. So on the 13th, I'll be actually watching, and we'll see what direction the mighty Sportster that's been around since 56, 57, the direction it's going to go. That's a half a century run this bike has had, and that's amazing. Here are a couple of thoughts I'd like to share with you just on this information. Hopefully, we'll get to see a roadster version with the variable cams and dual front disc brakes plus an updated suspension. Could also call it the XR1250. Either way, 150 horsepower roadster, thank you very much. That would be absolutely amazing. Another disconcerting thought here, it kind of gives me heartburn about loss of money in R&D with Harley-Davidson, is the specs nearly make a carbon copy of the V-Rod motor. So why did they put nearly identical in displacement, power, torque, and top speed? So why did they put all this R&D into a brand new motor when you had it with the V-Rod? I mean, you could have tweaked that motor and put it in a new frame, used the V-Rod motor as a stress member on the frame as well, and you'd be off and rolling and save yourself a metric boatload of money. Makes you wonder why they spent the development dollars to create a brand new motor. So I don't get that. Kind of interesting stuff coming up. Harley-Davidson hit the ball out of the park with the Pan Am. I think they're smashing the ball out of the park with the new Sportster S in the direction they're going. Whether you like those styling cues or not, there'll be many variants of the Sportster, a lower end, maybe a roadster, maybe a nightster, maybe an iron version. We will find out. But good things are happening there with the Sportster, and we'll find out on the 13th. With that, we're going to finish up this video. There's my ghost dog in Kraken's haunted garage telling me to wind up this video and wrap it up. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't like it, give it a thumbs down. If you want to see more in the future, hit that subscribe button right down there in the corner. And remember, folks, go riding. It's good for you, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.